Happy Monday. Welcome to the media side. Lance Lynn, guest hosting today, former Todd father teammate, longtime guest on FT, now on the retired side of the biz. Nice uniform, too. Lance, you ready to rock with Todd father?
I am. This is the only team that would have me this year.
Two. You've got both uniforms. The one digitally right now, it's us, and then the bananas. So you did bananas what, the other day?
Yeah, I did it Saturday night in St. Louis, so I figured what a good place to throw my last ball on a Major League mound.
How'd it go?
It went well, got a nice pop out, 4 pitches in, so I was hoping for a first pitch pop out. First time I've thrown a ball since April 1st, so it worked.
Did any teams call?
No, haven't heard anything, but had a little hump to it going in there, so I'm sure I won't get any calls.
Oh, you went with the socks up too. Look at you.
Hey, they don't have that big league cut. That's for sure. So they didn't make it all the way down.
That's awesome.
What do you got?
That's so cool, man. How awesome are those guys, by the way?
No, it was cool to how you be back in the locker room was the fun part, right? Those guys are having a heck of a time. They're getting to travel around, so I enjoyed that part of it. Some of those kids have played competitively in a lot of different leagues, and they're getting to shine on that stage. So it's good for them, and it's good for baseball. Bringing a lot of young fans to the ballpark and seeing a nice show.
When's the last time you seen that ballpark packed out that much? Not in a long time.
Oh man, right? I know. It's like I got to go back to the playoff days early in my career to really kind of hone in on that kind of a crowd for sure.
Yeah. Are you ready for this side? Are you ready for the media side? A little dabble today, talk trades and a little game analysis, the whole deal.
I'm looking forward to it. We all like to talk shop a little bit and stay involved as much as we can. I took a little bit of time off to get away from it. Now I'm getting back into it and really enjoying being a fan now, and then also using the things that I learned over the years playing too. So it'll be fun.
You probably look at Todd Father like, yeah, if Todd Father could be a star in this, I think I can do something.
I'm half a star, not a full star.
I round up.
But he's been putting on a show since he was 12 years old. He knows what he's doing.
Just like you, Sam. He's a big little league star too.
Yeah, you guys have been in the spotlight since your kids.
He had a little better run there. So for me, I've had to really come along since then. But he was a grown man among boys back then.
Hey, we're about to get into a veteran signing. Before we do that, what was the closest you got? Did you get any calls where, I guess in February or March, you thought this might take me over the top? Did you get close, or were you? Because I know you had a line when we last spoke to you. You were like, "Hey, I got a line. It's not going to be met." I think we guessed on what that line would look like, and even if it was prorated, if it took you into a couple months of the season. But I don't remember 10, 12, something like that, where a team had to give you a number that would convince you to get out of the house.
Yeah, my number the whole time was 8. 1 for 8 was the number, and with some incentives. Nobody ever really got there. 6 was floated out there here and there, and then once spring training started and the regular season started, I got some calls. Like, hey, what's 1 for 5 or 6? But the problem was everybody was offering minor league deals because they're like, oh, the season's already started. We don't know when you're going to be ready. Blah blah blah. I was like, oh man, I'm good. That's it. I'm done. So that was kind of the gist of it at the end.
There you go.
Wow.
You shot your number.
That's it, and you stick with your guns. At the end of the day, he's got a family that he wants to hang out with, but if somebody's going to go to what he wants and what he wants to match, I give him credit. You've always been like that. You're a guy of stature. You're a guy well-mannered, and you're not going to let anybody break you. That's why I loved you, brother. You're always straightforward with everybody. Honest. You want honesty? Right. That's the guy you want to talk to.
Yeah, hey, here's my number. You want to talk me out?
Yeah.
I'll go. Otherwise,
you
I'm
respect
good.
it. You respect that for sure.
Yeah, if you look back at it now, what's going on? I should have maybe stayed in shape for the trade deadline. Who knows?
Right. There's nobody available. That's the beauty of it. All right, so then let's kick this because this is a perfect day to talk about the signing from yesterday. Let's charge the mound.
Charging the mound.
All right, let's do this. Todd Father, Lance Lynn, and myself covering David Robertson to the Phillies. $16 million prorated. So he's going to get himself in the 6 range, give or take. But the Phillies needed bullpen help. And Lance, much like what you put on the table, David Robertson waited until late July to sign because he had a number in mind And of course, he got to that 16 number. Now we're deep into the season. He's only going to pitch about a couple months. He got optioned as soon as he signs so he can get himself ready to go. It's a total cost to Philly of about $12 million because they get taxed 110% on every dollar because they're over the fourth luxury tax number, which I think is called the Steve Cohen tax from the Mets unofficially. And that Robertson gets himself about 5.5, 6. And he'll be up soon, hopefully, to be able to help this team. So what do you think of this unique deal that was pulled off by David Robertson, who represents himself?
No, I thought it was a good deal for both sides, really. D-Rob is going to get what he wanted to get. That's how he rolls. And it ends up working out well. Phillies don't have to give up any prospects for him. So you're looking at down the stretch here, you get a guy that you can trust. He's done it in the playoffs and he's done it at a high level. So, and knowing him, man, he's going to be ready to go. He's done this before when he was rehabbing his own Tommy John back in the day and then signed late in the season and put up good numbers, I think back with Tampa back in the day. So he knows what he's doing, and I think he'll be ready sooner rather than later, a couple of weeks down there, get some games under his belt. And, that's a good pickup for the Phillies for sure.
Listen, he's his own agent. This guy understands what he's capable of. He understands what he's worth, and he didn't want to dime anything less than what he wanted. I mean, maybe a little bit, but you get at home, you get a taste a little bit of what home life is. I'm sure he probably loved it with his kids. But again, if he has an opportunity to play for August for a couple months and make $5.5 million, I mean, who wouldn't say yes to that? So, Lance, you should have stayed in shape, damn it. God almighty.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Everyone's like, hey, how fast can you get there? I was like, if I only had to throw one inning, every other day, that's a little different story. But if you're looking at 100 pitches, then, that's going to be that's a totally different ball game. You need a month or two to get ready to go for that.
Easily blow out in 2 months, just gas 98 plus. You could do that.
Some teams
you just need me for one at a time.
Yeah,
early on in the offseason, some teams are starting to float the idea of closing. And then it was funny because they're like, hey, do you want to close? I was like, I think that'd be fun. They're like, yeah, we're going to give you this, but you might start too. I was like, hey, if you want me to start, you're going to pay me like a starter. And if you want me to relieve, you can pay me like a reliever. So that was where a team started trying to get me as a reliever, but use me as a starter, get me a little cheaper was their idea. I was like, we're not going to do that either.
Wow. Trying to get the reliever rate. That's creative. Yep. I give them that. Yeah. All right. So David Robertson's 40 years old. He hasn't pitched since September 29th. He did the private bullpen session for teams the other day, and clearly it went well enough that there were multiple teams going after him. Craig Breslow was there representing the Red Sox, and Robertson ends up going with Philly. I'm sure it was a money thing for the most part. They probably offered the most. It's his 16th season now. He's coming off a 3.00 ERA, Godfather, 68 innings or outings last year for the Rangers at 99 strikeouts in 72 innings. That's obviously a really good K per 9 number, even from a reliever for a Phillies team that ranks in the bottom 10 in bullpen ERA. How quickly do you think he can be a factor for them? And is there a chance he even ends up closing out games for them because Jose Alvarado is not going to pitch for them in the playoffs since he got popped for PEDs?
Well, there's no telling what he can do. And I think at his stage and where he's at, he's not going to be like, hey, man, I got to be the closer. I got to be the 7th, 8th inning guy. He's going to do whatever they tell him. Just understanding and playing with the guy, especially, this could be his last little go around here. He just wants to play. His cutter still plays. It's a nasty pitch. He learned it from Mariano Rivera, as we all know. He still throws in the 90s. And with that cutter going one way, and now he's developed a little bit of a sinker and that big breaking pitch, he's a good pitcher with no telling what he can do. So he'll be ready to pitch whenever they want him, wherever. And he's not afraid, man. Give him the ball. He's always been clutch. He's always been that guy, starting with the Yankees and all of a sudden moving around. He's got the best calves in baseball, and that's that with him.
Definitely needs a back-end guy, like you said, with the suspension. So it was a no-doubter for any team that needed a guy.
How much does this help Philly, Todd, Father? Do you think that they're going to get themselves another bullpen piece?
Enough. I think it helps them enough. I'm not going to go over the bridge and say, definitely going to be a playoff team, win the NL East, but this helps them enough. Another key cog and, honestly, a guy that's been there before with the Phillies. So he understands that it's not a guy that's just not brand new to the team. So he's going to come in, feel comfortable and ready to go once they put him up there. And I think it helps them just enough. If that's for lack of a better answer.
Right. But okay, so we're 10 days ish away from the trade deadline, or 10 days exactly. It's on the 31st. It's a Thursday. So not this week, but next week on Thursday, we'll be doing hours and hours of coverage on foul territory. How much more do you think the Phillies need to be a World Series winner? Because this winning window is going to close sometime soon. A lot of their guys have been around for a minute. Also, some of them could end up leaving. Schwarber's going to be a free agent after the season. What else do we need? Do we need one outfielder? And in my mind,
let's hear you.
I need another reliever.
Yeah,
I need another, preferably high leverage, but at least a guy that can pitch in the 7th or 8th inning. The circle of trust in the playoffs gets very tiny.
I like their lineup. I still like their lineup.
Okay.
I like their starting staff. I do. If they do want to sprinkle in another starter there, wouldn't be opposed. I know that would help. But again, I think the biggest thing in trade deadlines are the guys that are going to come in the 4th and 5th inning and all of a sudden like, all right, we need 2 innings out of you. Those long relievers. And you understand it. For some reason, the playoffs now, the last couple of years, pitchers don't go too long, Scotty, Lance. You see that. And it's kind of unfortunate. Coaches have shorter leashes. And now your bullpen's like, shoot, I gotta go back-to-back days, or maybe back-to-back-to-back. So they got to be ready. So the more of those, the better. And if you have opportunity to get them, trade a prospect. They're prospects for a reason. So they haven't done anything yet in the big leagues. And I've always said that, Lance, whether you agree with me or not.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. That's why you have them, so you can trade them for what you need to go win a playoff series or a World Series. So, I think it's definitely a back end reliever, and there's going to be some out there. And Dombrowski's not afraid to go get what he needs to get. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do at the deadline. Maybe get an outfield bat from the right side too. So a reliever and an outfield bat, and especially with Robertson signing, that's a good little deadline for him, I would think.
Yep, I'm with you, and it's a good point. This first one doesn't cost you anything but money for an owner who is not afraid to spend it. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk to former Lance Lynn teammate Gavin Sheets, thriving with the Padres. He'll join us in a couple minutes. Time for a quickie break. Todd Father and I are going to tell you about Huel, but it's mostly going to be Todd Father because I'm going to take a sip.
Well, we're talking about Huel, 27 vitamins and minerals. It's a complete meal. Let's listen. We all have busy schedules. As Scott's sipping it down, it looks delicious. It tastes delicious. When we're on the run, we need something to eat quick. And guess what? Huel is there, all different flavors. Scotty loves them. I love them. And I love how variety-packed it is, and we can eat them any time of the day.
That's right. Yeah, check out the website. There's bars. There are so many different flavors. I love the Black Edition. Chocolate, 35 grams of protein. There's strawberry shortcake, coffee caramel, cookies and cream. I can go on. And you get yourself 15% off if you're a new customer using the code FOUL at Huel.com/foul. Please see our description for the terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition with the code FOUL at Huel.com/foul. Hey, Josh Hart, who had a sick year with the New York Knicks, apparently is a baseball fan. And this was from almost a week ago now, but we caught it. It was a post about how Paul Skenes has a 1.20 ERA in July, hasn't won a game since May, can't make this stuff up, from a fan. And then Josh Hart of the Knicks replies, "For the love of God, this is malpractice. Someone make MLB force a trade."
True.
Passionate.
Yeah. I didn't know he was ready to rear and rocking for. Is he a Pittsburgh Pirates fan? Or?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably not then, if that's he wants to
I don't know where he's from. Maybe he's from the area, and that's why he's – well, no, because, right, you wouldn't – if he's from the area, then you would want to keep him if you can.
I love how he's into baseball, though. I appreciate that.
I like it.
Yeah.
But, Lance, I mean –
I love how he thinks that we can force a trade too, right?
Yeah, exactly. A little different. There's not much there's not much he can do. And also, as far as the wins, I got nothing for you, bud.
That's tough. That's a tough one too, man. That guy throws the ball well and gets no run support. That's just where they're at right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. I mean, they're pushing themselves toward maybe the second or third worst record in baseball this year. It's getting that bad.
We knew that.
They got beat up a little. They lost 2 out of 3, right, to the White Sox.
I think that, yeah, well, they lost yesterday. We know that.
They get
Yeah.
swept.
Did they get swept?
That's interesting.
In,
I don't
in
know.
all
I can't
fairness,
remember.
that's not. Yeah, that's not the series I'm locked in on anymore.
No.
Here we go, Padres slugger Gavin Sheets. We might have to. Adjust
Oh, I
the
like
phone.
this. No, I like that.
You like that way? Yeah.
There you go.
That's more of a trippy Friday look. Now we're on the
I
Monday look.
don't know what's
Gavin
going on
Sheets.
there.
There it is. Padre Slugger joining us right now. But before you say hello, this is Lance Lynn's FT guest hosting debut. So, Lance, do you want to introduce your former teammate?
Well, first of all, you're welcome for letting me bring you, helping them bring you on, because you need some love for sure. Man, how's everything going?
Everything's great, man. Really enjoying San Diego, really enjoying this team, this organization, and it's been fun so far, but the real sprint's just beginning now, which is exciting.
All right. So, I'll do the burning question right from the jump. What changed? Was it getting away from Lance or something else?
Yeah, I think getting away from Lance was definitely good for me. But I think getting to this organization and just getting kind of a fresh start, was really important for me. And that was something this off season that I was excited about. And obviously, whenever you get non-tendered, it burns a little bit. But for me, I was just excited about a fresh start and getting somewhere where winning was the most important thing.
Talk to us a little bit about, forget about baseball right now. We'll get back to that. You just had a new baby daughter. You're a little sleepy in those eyes. How you feeling right now? Congratulations. Healthy, happy,
Yeah.
hopefully, and mama's doing well.
Healthy, happy. We timed it really well. Sunday I missed one game and then rode it right into the All-Star break, and yeah, such a cool just experience. Utmost respect for my wife after watching everything that she went through, and going on a 10-day road stand right now is tough. Obviously, being away from them and only getting a couple days with them, but no, we got a healthy baby and a healthy mommy, so it's been great.
Hey, did you use my advice and make sure you didn't gripe about your back hurting when sleeping on
Yeah,
the cot
I
the next
did.
morning?
I did. That was good advice. I didn't want to bring up how uncomfortable the couch was for a couple nights, but I felt I felt that I would just wear that one and be supportive. But I appreciate you. I think that was a good piece of advice you gave me.
Perfect.
That's awesome. I want to talk a little bit more about family. Your dad, Larry, played 8 seasons with the Orioles, Tigers, and Mariners. Talk a little about what he has ingrained in you in baseball, the grind, the ebbs and flows of the everlasting, getting humbled all the time. What you and your dad have talked about over the years, just so, to get your mind right here, because I find this so interesting and fascinating how family members and genetics makes, the world go around in this baseball world.
Yeah, no doubt. It's fun because each year we've had different conversations. In the beginning it was how to come up in the league and stay in the league, and then it was, I've had different roles. I've been a platoon player, I've been an off the bench guy. Now this year I'm an everyday starter. So, being able to talk to them through each scenario and how to handle each situation and how to make the most of each role that you're in. And so every day it's a different conversation. But just having someone that's been through it and understands how hard this game is and what it takes to stay in this league for a long time has been very important.
Gavin, I'll do another classic question. I'm sure you've been asked it before. What are the differences behind the scenes that are helping you prep for games? Every organization runs themselves differently. We've spoken to quite a few players either on the Padres or that are former Padres who say the info and the preparation is elite, is top notch. I know you don't have a million teams to compare it to, but I'm sure friends around the league have talked to you about them as well. What do you got for us?
Yeah, the way we prepare here in the stuff available to us is awesome. Just preparing on a daily basis for the pitcher at hand, and but I just like how simple they keep it. They take out the eyewash, and the most important thing is 640 every night. It's not about we get our work in for sure. But when you show up to the ballpark every day, you understand the most important thing is once the game starts. And I think that's most important. You keep all your effort and your energy and you save it up for the game, and we're extremely prepared. And the way we go about our business and the way we talk in meetings and just prepare for the game is pretty special.
How did it come about when you linked up with the Padres? Like, take us through that process. Like you mentioned, never feels good getting non-tendered. Of course, I'm sure that adds some juice for you. But what happened after that?
Yeah, then it was seeing the interest around the league, talking to a couple teams and narrowing it down. And it's funny, one of my big mentors that Lance played for a while was Tony La Russa. And I was talking to some teams that Tony was knew the guys running it. And he spoke very highly of Schilt. And he felt it would be a good fit. And I talked to him, and obviously making sure the Padres was a good fit as well. What they needed it, and what I could bring to the table. And and then the business side of it is the business side of it. So that's the negotiations with all the teams and everything. But just felt like a really good fit.
Hey, I know you signed to be a DH, and you're getting some left field time. And I've seen you run out there, but I've seen you progress over the years when we were from Chicago on the years. How comfortable are you out there? And is it something you were expecting as the year went on?
Yeah, I think when I came in, it was going to be mostly first and DH. But as the season progressed on, and what our needs were, and being able to go out there and help us out there has been huge. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better out there. Put in a lot of work with the guys here. And I think that's the cool thing about being able to play different positions is you allow yourself to get on the field in many different ways. And being able to help this team and play out there every day has been a lot of fun. It's been a new challenge for me, and really embracing it.
So I got a yes/no question, and then I'll ask the real question I want. Do you naturally hate the Dodgers now since you're on the Padres?
um, I enjoy the rivalry. I enjoy
There
being
you
a part
go.
of it for sure.
I love
Yeah,
that. I love
yeah,
that political
yeah,
answer. I'll take it. No worries.
yeah.
How you guys going to get over the hump? This team, the Dodgers, been struggling. It's always a battle against them, but they always seem to come out on top in the division or what have you in the playoffs. Not to bring up bad things and what's been going on over the recent years. How do you guys get over the hump here and get through to this Dodger team and make a run? Because last year, my partner here, Scotty, thought you guys would have won the whole thing if you would have won those last two games last year. So talk to me
Yeah.
about how you guys finally get over the hump here and finally beat the Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm excited for the challenge. Obviously on paper they are what they are, and obviously we're not going to shy away from them because we have a lot of star talent as well. And I think that our pitching's been extremely good this year. Our hitters we're starting to pick it up and get it going. And obviously at the deadline with Preller and the way he does business, anything can happen. But we got Michael King coming back hopefully soon, and our team's really lining up to be special. So, I think that, the biggest thing is not worry about other teams and just kind of control what you can control and go out every day and put stack wins up and see what happens. But, obviously the Dodgers are the head of the pack right now, and, we're excited to see what happens in this next sprint.
I think you nailed it with the inclusion of Preller in that sentence. So this is one of the premier gunslinger executives in the game, which is fun for, I would say, basically everyone, right? It's fun for players when you get some help. It's fun for fans to follow, really, of the entire sport. We want more trades, activity, and he's always making phone calls. He is more aggressive than most. So during this time period, we're 10 days away from the trade deadline. Do you get a little fandom in you in a good way where you're keeping track of the rumors and the reports? Are you one of those people that are checking the phone? Obviously, I know most clubhouses now have the guys in the phones a lot. Is that happening over these 10 days here? And this is different. This is different from the White Sox days where the phone checking's probably in a different way. Like, did I get traded?
Yeah. No, it is completely different. I remember in 23 sitting with Lance and a couple guys, and by 30 minutes later they're all off the team. So this is a little different now, but yeah, I've never seen Preller not on the phone. So I think we're always kind of looking around, and I know from just looking around the league when I was with the White Sox, you always look to see what the Padres do because he's aggressive and he wants to win. I think it's great for baseball. I think you see now there's so much parity around the league and so many teams that are in it. And obviously at the trade deadline, anything can happen, and teams bolster up around the league. And I think it's an exciting time for fans. I think it's an exciting time for baseball, and we'll see what happens with us.
Hey, like you said, I know it broke your heart when I got traded from the White Sox years ago, and I heard you're like a lost puppy running around the clubhouse, didn't know who to follow or anything like that. That being said, now you get to play every day, and you're in the lineup. Does that hurt the golf game? Because are we not getting to play much, or what are we working with?
It's definitely hurt the golf game a little bit, in a good way. It's this is probably the least I've ever played. I miss it a little bit. I got to play a couple times in the road days, but between playing every day and the baby now, it's going to be off season only. It looks like.
Yeah, you're finally a grown up now. It's good for you.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah.
I still enjoy taking money from you on the course, but that can always wait till the off season.
Hey, that was Graveman. Don't get us confused. You always took it from Graveman.
All right, so I've got a few fan questions. This is a perfect one to start with because it involves Lance as well. So we can get Lance on the screen for this one too. Let's four-box it. Okay, so Mike G said for Gavin, how would he approach an at-bat against prime Lance Lynn, and how would Lynn try to get him out? So we'll let Gavin
Well,
go
I think
first.
we can pull up the tape last year of our bats. He threw me a 2-0 changeup with a guy that throws 90% heater. So you talk about the fear factor already. But I think there was a double down the left field line, and I actually had him sign the ball that said I was 1 for 2 with a walk, and I had put on their 2-0 changeup on there as well. So I had that sitting in my house at home.
Oh
Yeah.
my!
And the question was prime, right? We're not talking
Oh,
last year of your career and missing a couple hamstring
look,
tendons,
I just
all that
saw the
good
St.
stuff.
Louis Cardinals jersey on, so I just figured it was prime Lance Lynn.
Wow. Okay.
I,
Yeah, he's
I
coming
hear
heater
you.
in the
I hear
prime. I
you.
know that.
Yeah, I did. That's no right. He shot a sinker. He's hitting fourth. He late barreled, slapped the ball down the left field line. So yeah, a little bit of a slappy, but that's kind of fits his mold. He was a platoon guy back then too. So you got to slap. You got to get your knocks just to hope to get in the lineup the next day. So I get it. Um,
100%.
but you got prime. Let's go to Texas, right, Todd? Prime when I'm punching tickets.
Mm-hmm.
It's just four seams by him up top all day long,
Cool.
and then a cutter in hard,
Up
let him
here.
hook it foul. Yeah, let him hook it
Okay.
foul. Thinks he's on it, and then it's by him again up top.
Oh my! So he's
Yeah.
not catching up to the one up here. All right,
Oh
I
no,
got
and he's gonna keep trying to get to it too, but he just can't. It gets a little here. He gets a little here. He can't do it.
that gets
I love
dicey
it.
down here. It's dicey.
This brings back all of our clubhouse back and forth, and I do miss it. I do miss it.
It's all good. It's
Yeah,
all good. That's the
we had some good
the
banter,
part I
that's for
miss.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get you another one. This from Chris, fan question. Gavin, what's basically asked what's the diet at this point in your life to kind of keep you fresh throughout a whole season, and what have you learned about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just, this year, especially playing out there every day, especially in left field, it's just been, sticking up on the proteins and just recovery. It's been more recovery than I've ever done in my career. And, just a lot of protein, carbs before the game, and then, hydrating up and getting ready for the next day. Especially right now, we're on this East Coast swing, and the heat and humidity has been tough. So, recovering more than ever, and being conscious of what you're putting in.
Okay. I got one more for me. Back to the White Sox days again. Are you keeping in touch with a lot of the guys there? Like, obviously you're not there anymore, and you mentioned it was good times when you had Lance there, but do you keep in touch now as more of a veteran, right? You've got dirt in your spikes in the league to provide even just motivation to some of the guys that are trying to find their footing or obviously going through hard times in terms of wins and losses.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know many of the guys there now. I know some of the pitchers, and obviously Benintendi and I are really close, and Luis Robert, but a lot of the guys are new. And I still stay in touch with a lot of the staff. I love the staff there now, and some of the guys have been reaching out to me and congratulating me on just the year so far. But there's been a lot of turnover there. I've been in touch with Vonnie a lot. I love to see what he's doing in Milwaukee. Really happy for him, and just some of the guys. Obviously, Benintendi and I stay in touch a lot, but a lot of the guys there are young, and it's an exciting core that they're running out there right now, and I know they have a lot of pitching coming up for them as well. So There's just been a lot of turnover there, and but I spent a lot of time there, and I wish nothing but the best for those guys.
All right, last question overall here. I want to give Padre love here because I love watching you guys play. I love the personalities on your team. Talk to us a little bit about Tatis, Machado. Who's a guy in that clubhouse that you nobody would understand how just funny the dude is? Like, talk to us about some of those personalities. Like a guy, everybody be like, no way.
Yeah, I think man, it's such a fun clubhouse. Just the brand that we play and the fun that we have in there. But for me, it's Luis Arias. He's hilarious, and just the energy he brings, and just the behind the scenes. He's been a ton of fun to play with. Obviously, playing against him in Minnesota, I could see some of that, but being around him every day has been a blast. But just seeing Manny behind the scenes and just the work he puts in and playing every single day and playing through the aches and pains, and just not worrying about it, just going out there every day and playing. And I don't think he's missed a game this year. So seeing him and Toddy, the way they go about their business, but just the behind the scenes funny guy is Luis Arias for sure.
He's fun to watch too. That's a very different player from almost
You ever try
anyone else.
hitting like him? Just
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I watch him in the cage and it's impressive, but I think I'd be out of this league pretty quick if I tried to hit like him.
you and me both.
I couldn't get him out, man. I could not get him out.
Oh,
You
It's
and
crazy.
many others. Yeah. All right. Well, Gavin, this was awesome, man. Thanks
Yeah,
for
it was.
stopping by for Lance's FT hosting debut. How'd he do?
Wouldn't miss it. No, I love that Savannah Bananas shirt on him too. That was fun
Only
to see
team
him
that
out
had
there.
me
Those
this
high
year, baby.
pants. I don't think those high pants are your look, but other than that, I thought it was pretty
I
cool.
was thinking that.
Is either that or mid calves, but the mid calves might have been a play since I am retired. That's a retirement look.
True.
Yeah, that was certainly a retirement look.
There you go.
I've looked
Gavin,
retired
awesome
for a
having
couple
you.
years.
Appreciate
Thanks
it,
for
guys. A
having
lot
me.
of fun.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon.
Thank you,
See you,
guys.
brother.
It's Gavin Sheets of the Padres. Be right back. You know about the best place to buy, sell, trade, or look for that special card in your world. It's called Arena Club, and Eric Kratz just went through a little slab pack experience, and you went big. You went for the Ruby pack.
I love it. I love clicking on the Ruby pack and knowing that I'm going to open something that is going to be epic. I got a Cal Ripken Jr. autographed 1 of 42. I'm keeping it right now, but I would love to have it in my hand, so I might even have them send it to me. Already graded, everything taken care of for me.
That's right. You want to hang it up and stare at it all day, go for it. But if you're in there to get something else or to sell it away, you can do that. They've got the buyback program, or you can put it on the marketplace yourself. Tons of options. This is where the best cards live. It's arenaclub.com/foul and use the code FOUL for 20% off your first slab pack, or if you'd like to purchase a card, 20% off your first card purchase. Again, arenaclub.com/FOUL. Use code FOUL. All right, we got 2 minutes till we're back with the TV crowd. Todd Father takes center stage for this one. We got Yankees Blue Jays firing up for the week.
I've never been more excited for a Blue Jay Yankee game in a long time.
I agree. Yeah.
Long time coming.
Jays have won 10 straight at home. They swept the Yankees last time around, 4 games earlier this month. That's when they took over first place, and they haven't looked back.
This is a good, and we're going to talk about more Yankee stuff a little later about Jazz. This guy I'm looking at right across with the banana jersey, he's going to have some really good insight about what would happen next on people on second base.
If you're doing a little
things. Yes.
sign stealing.
Oh, I would love to hear what he has to say. We'll get
policing the game a little bit.
This is the perfect model, type A right here. We'll talk about.
We'll get there. But are you surprised? We got 1 minute. You surprised the Blue Jays look this good right now?
No, not really. I mean, you look at that lineup and their starters, man. They've got a good ball club. Last year was just a bad year. Sometimes it happens. Injuries, things don't click, but they have all the pieces to be good, and they're starting to show it, and they're playing heck of baseball. And when they start doing that, that team will roll because they feed off of each other very well.
Yeah. Hey, right now they're in control.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a battle. And this is, I think this is really good for baseball, for one, and for two, it just hasn't been like this. So it's kind of exciting, honestly. As a Yankee guy, of course, I'm rooting for the Yankees. At the end of the day, that's what I've always have. But this is really exciting for the AL East, and I think it's exciting for the Tampa too. They're right in the mix too as well.
Good for baseball when Canada's involved too. Right? They've got one team.
Yep.
They're playing well. Injuries suck. Let's run through a few. We're going to start with one of Lance's former ball clubs here, the Dodgers. Looks like some good news on Max Muncy, that his return could be a lot sooner than anticipated. He's already swinging a bat. He's jogging. He's throwing. That's good. The lineup always seems to tick off when Max isn't in there. Do you feel that, Lance? Going back to when you faced the Dodgers and Muncy was there, what kind of at-bat is he on the pitching side to face and kind of switch things up?
Yeah, he's not afraid to take his walk, and he can leave the ballpark at any time. So you're looking at a lineup that it definitely gets deeper. You get guys where they're guys that can play multiple positions, can kind of get locked into more of that. Muncy's locked in at third. He's locked in the middle of the lineup. He's driving the ball. He's taking his walk. So that's going to be a big pickup for him and lengthen the lineup with some sock when he comes back for sure.
Yeah, Mookie's struggling a little bit, man.
Yeah, he is.
Mookie
That's the other
is
story.
struggling. That's one sentence that rarely gets talked about or ever brought up, because he never struggles. And, it is what it is. He even said it. I've never done this. It's all new. I've never been this bad for this long. Well, welcome to 80% of my career.
And everybody else's.
Yeah, and everybody else's. But, hey, he is human. He is human. Listen, sometimes pitchers get you, brother, and you just got to make a cognizant effort to keep what you're doing, keep your mind right. And listen, a snap of a finger, this guy will be 5 for 10 with 3 homers. So I'm not really worried about him. But, yeah, at least, you see something like this, he's coming out and expressing it and letting it out instead of being like, oh, no, I'm one pitch away, or, nah, don't worry about this. He's feeling it. He's feeling it, and he's human too.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his career, he's never, I don't even think, been close to sub-average on the OPS plus side of things, 100 league average. 1 year, 2017, he was 108. Every other year, I mean, he's deep into the 100, so significantly better than league average. And this year, he's at 93, and he's 91 games into his season. I mean, that is a big difference for someone like him, Lance. Last year, that number was 145, year before 169, year before that 144. I mean, this is a guy who's, and those numbers are superstar status. If you're 140 OPS plus and above, you're a superstar. So this is a huge turn for him. There's still time. I always wonder too about the position, or maybe I'm overthinking that, but I just feel like it's a lot more work with shortstop. And even though he's handled it pretty well, he made this change really late in his career. It could take a different toll on your body. I know outfield can too, but I'm just always wondering, it's still weird for me to see him at shortstop versus right.
Yeah, you never know. That could be something there. Injuries and all that, all in the new position, I guess. Maybe that's something they do. They put him back at the top of the lineup, put him back in right field or something like that, and you never know. He might take off. But Mookie, like you said, he's never done this. So it'd be interesting to see how, he's finally kind of, he admitted it and said, hey, I got to be better, and, I got to figure it out. So, you can't count Mookie out anytime. He's been so good for so long. So, like Todd said, it could be 5 for his next 10 with 3 homers and then right back where he needs to be. So, Mookie's too good to be down for a whole year.
And I think the smart play is putting him back in the leadoff just because of the sole fact pitch number 1 is usually a fastball, and he's ready for those fastballs at all time. And all of a sudden, that click, boom, double in the gap, single to right, homer. He's always ready for pitch number 1, and I think that's the best part. Move a guy to the 1 spot, you're going to ultimately get a fastball that first pitch of the game. Hopefully it's a strike and you don't miss it.
One more on the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman hit on the wrist by a pitch. X-rays negative, day-to-day. Should be okay. Seems like he dodged one there, which is good news. And we got a couple that are worse here. So we'll go to the Orioles. Longtime friend of the show. Great interview. Grayson Rodriguez, elbow discomfort again while rehabbing his lat injury. That's the same issue he had in spring training that held him back. An interim manager, Tony Mansolino, said the Orioles have had to pull back on his rehab stint. So he stopped. They'll give us more info soon That sucks. Great personality.
Terrible.
Number one starter stuff. They just can't get him back on the field right now.
Yeah, I honestly think you're seeing this a little more often, and it's worrisome. Excuse me. Elbow discomfort, shoulder discomfort. After rehabbing for so long, you're like, man, what else do I have to do? And I mean, I think Lance can attest to this and talk a little more about it. Like, it's got to be really frustrating. It's got to be really, really, anger. This kind of stuff. You work your butt off months and months to get back to where you need to be, and then this has to happen.
Yeah, it just eats you up. As a competitor, you want to be on the field, and then it's just like it seems to be one thing after another for him. Unfortunately, kids got great stuff. You're starting to see him kind of come into his own, and then now it's just one setback after another. So hopefully he's able to reassess here, take a break, and kind of put the. But man, it's been a tough year for him in the sense of just it's been nonstop, man, and sometimes that stuff happens and it sucks.
So the Orioles aren't going anywhere this year. I mean, they've had a miserable season, so they're not a playoff team. They don't need to rush someone like him back. Have you ever seen guys that are injury prone early in their careers try and do something drastically different, whether it's the way that they're training, rehabbing, the people that they're seeing? Of course, you deal with the team, but you can also see people outside of the team, right? If you're someone in his spot, and he said to you, hey, I can't figure out how to stay on the field the last couple years. What do I do? What would you say to him?
I think that's like any of us, right? As your career goes on, you try to connect with guys that have done it at a high level, stayed healthy, maybe gone through some of the same things you've gone through injury-wise, and then you put a plan together for you, but you take everything together that you can get. Michael Walker, I remember, had a scap thing early on, and they were worried about it in St. Louis. And then McCarthy had it before him. So he actually reached out and was like, hey, what did you do? And then it starts a process of, hey, what do I need to do pre-game, post-game, in between starts? And then maybe you can start changing some of that fortune where you can stay healthy and then you can make your starts and do your things. But obviously there might be something that he needs to take from someone else and or add it to his program, or things that might be hurting him right now. So that's part of the process. Unfortunately, you wish you can do it as you're playing. I was able to do it as I was playing, where some guys have to be hurt for a while to kind of figure it out. And that's no fun for sure.
How different are teams with the way that they rehab pitchers? Like or do most of them have kind of the same book for the same injuries?
I would say every team I played on was different, whether it was rehab, whether it was in between starts, post start, everything was different. There was no team that had the same method. So I was able to kind of had a good, good footstep in it. And then I was able to build on it. I was able to get guys coming over from other teams, and I went to New York with CC. So I was starting to, ask questions and learn things. And I was able to slowly add things to things I learned early on in my career. And, I got lucky to stay pretty healthy most of my career. But I will tell you that every team had a totally different way to do it for the most part.
Yeah, see, to me, that sometimes means if a guy moves on to a different ball club, a different rehab process can change things up. Obviously,
Without a doubt.
Yeah, you can't do that when you're under team control like this, but just throwing it out there. Anyway, we're going to talk to a guy who just came back, Tyler Glasnow, waiting for us and joining us next on FT. Kratz, what do? I'm in a bind and I need to make some food at home. I would like it to be home cooked, but I don't want to deal with any of the grocery crap.
HelloFresh, get it done. And they'll start to know when you're in a bind, and they'll figure it out for you, sending something new whenever you order it. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it is. And there are dozens of menu items to choose from each week. They can also help you out if you need a little assistance. They can kind of cater to what your needs are or what your preferences are. They'll do a little Q&A session for you, and then you can be the star at home. Kratz is a superstar dad at home for his HelloFresh expertise. And if you want to get involved, then you can make sure that your summer is more enjoyable and delicious at HelloFresh.com/FT10FM. Get 10 free meals with a free item for life when you do that. HelloFresh.com/FT10FM. One per box with an active subscription. Free meals are applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. All right, so the Astros didn't have a great weekend against the Mariners, but they did salvage a game in the series on Sunday. I think it was like 11 unanswered runs on Sunday's game to finish it up, but they did lose Isaac Paredes to the 10-day IL, so that's another big bat down for them. It's a right hamstring strain. They don't have Yordan Alvarez for the majority of the season, and at some point you would think he'll come back, but it's been a weird process since they misdiagnosed the injury at first. Jeremy Pena's down, and he'll be back at some point in the second half of the year. I mean, we continue to point this out, but just to get a fresh perspective, Lance, this team does not have the scariest looking starting nine right now, and yet they lead the American League West. How?
Dude, I don't know what they figured out in Houston, but it seems like every year you lose Correa, you still win the division. You lose Bregman, you're still ahead of the division. It's amazing. I mean, and injury-wise, they're getting – I mean, they traded away Tucker too, and it's like, hey, we're still going to win the division. It's amazing. So, obviously, they're getting crushed with injuries. The trade deadline, they're going to need to, maybe add a few things here and there just because they're going to need some help down the stretch until some guys get healthy, but they know how to win. I don't know how to say it or whatever they're building in that organization from minor leagues up. These guys are showing up. They know what they're expected and they know what they want them to do, and they're winning ball games.
Yeah, Jake Meyer's having a sick year. He goes down right now. He's been out with the strained calf. It is not a household name lineup at the moment, aside from a couple guys, but they're doing it. Hey, we've got Tyler Glasnow back in action too. Great to see you back, dude. How you feeling, and how was the return for you, man?
It was good. I feel really good. Just ironing all that stuff out, just back to being healthy, and I feel really good right now.
I liked your quote the other day after Friday's start. Obviously, people want to know, hey, you change anything mechanically? And you're like, yo, I'm just trying to be athletic and just not look at anything. Does that mean take it back a little bit to, I don't want to say little kid days, but just not listening to much or studying much and just going out and kind of doing what naturally feels right delivery-wise?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a meet in the middle situation. I think like when you go through the same injury year in and year out, you kind of have to figure out something. And I think I just revamped like really like a lot of stuff this offseason, and it felt good in the beginning. And I just think like when you make huge changes, your body's not used to something like that, especially when you're trying to throw really hard. So I think it's kind of like a meet in the middle thing. I think trying to overcook what I was doing before and like get really crazy back bend and putting like a ton of strain on my arm probably wasn't the answer. And I think what I did this offseason also is probably too far on the other side of the spectrum. So I think a lot of it is eliminating thought pitching and then throughout the week trying to just iron out the things I need to. But when I go out and that like every 5 days, I just got to go out and compete. It's too hard in this league to go out and try to like do a bunch of other stuff. So it is just when I am in between the lines, just try to compete as much as I can and then worry about the other stuff after.
Nice. So you think, hey, it's good to see you, by the way. It's been a minute.
What's up, dude?
I always love
Yeah.
pitching against you. But no, I got traded over to the Dodgers, and they had a lot of information for me. I was struggling at the time, but you were, dominating, throwing the ball well in Tampa. What are some things that they kind of showed you that, hey, you could do this a little bit this way and this way that added on? And those are some of the things you're talking about, maybe pushing too far the wrong way that might have caused some of the injuries to flare up?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, like I kind of came over and they were pretty good about like they weren't trying to change much. I think maybe like pitch usage and like maybe some in between week stuff. I think a lot of the changes I made this offseason were just kind of out of my own frustration of always getting hurt. And so I think I just looked at like talked to a bunch of different people, maybe some biomechanic guys, and like they all had different opinions, but all of the similar things they said I tried to take into the offseason. And I just think it felt really good. Like it was designed to make my elbow feel good, and it worked. And then my shoulder started hurting. So it just kind of was like I I don't know. It was just one of those situations where I'd rather go out and pitch well and be athletic as opposed to just trying to like figure out a way to keep my elbow healthy. But I think, like I said, if I can go in like the middle ground and find a way to compete and stay healthy and just like take care of all the recovery stuff in between the week, which they have a really good grasp on, and like our training room and strength coach guys are awesome. So I think it was just, I guess, a little halfway thing, I guess, if that makes any sense.
I want to stick on this for one more question about mindset. I think what people don't understand is when people go through trials and tribulations in their job or their profession, how hard it really is. Now, for you, you're very strong in your mind. You're very technical. You're analytical. You understand the way you pitch. But can you tell like the just regular person out there, what is really going on in your mind during all these things, injuries, getting on the mound, having to face some of the best hitters in the world? I do talk about changing things, but how do you keep this in the right location?
I think it definitely is one of those things that comes as you get a routine and you learn yourself, and like you go through the ebbs and flows of season, you understand how to navigate like all that up and down. And I think when you add, like for me this year, when you add something else that's like completely brand new, it's just another element of something to think about. And it's like probably a pitcher's worst night, or like just not a pitcher's, it's not like conducive to being a good pitcher. I think you do what you can during the week, and then you try to eliminate thought when you get on the mound. And then if you have all these other external things you're thinking about and all this other added stuff, it makes it a lot harder. But I guess kind of to what you're saying, it's a lot. Like you're trying to navigate how you feel, how the other lineup responds to your stuff, and then all the other things going on. And it is just like a process of elimination and trying to simplify the game as much. And I think in a world where there is a lot of added information, you want to take that and you want to understand it and you want to simplify it. But I think like the ticket for anyone, especially if they're not in like a great place, is just eliminate thought. Go out and play in the backyard and just try to simplify the game as much as you possibly can. Probably for a pitcher and a hitter. I can't speak on what a hitter goes through, but I'm assuming simple is always pretty good.
I'm going to take us in a different direction. A tall dude who has burst on the scene and been talked about a lot so far. I wanted to get your thoughts on Jacob Mizorowski. If you got to see some pitches from him, maybe catch a start from the Miz. And then what were your thoughts on him getting into the All-Star game?
Yeah, he's a freak. I think I saw a quote that their manager said he's just like so green, he's still got the goo on him. He's like a fetus or whatever. I don't know what he said, but that's what I took from it. And he really, he moves incredibly well, super long and like he times it up extremely well. And I think for being how young he is, it's really hard to do. And even there's at times that like being a long, kind of hard throwing guy, it is really hard to time up, but it seems like his stuff is really consistent. He always has that like hard slider, sitting 100. Seems like a really good dude. But yeah, I was super impressed when he pitched against us. You think he struck out 12 dudes. His stuff was just electric. And then I guess as far as the All-Star game goes, I think immediate reaction is like 5 games. That's not a ton of time to go into an All-Star game, but I think after, like you can't, if anyone is in his shoes and he's like that disgusting and then the league asks you to go to the All-Star game, like of course you're going to do it. So no, I don't think anyone could fault him for it. And I also think I heard that like they asked a bunch of guys to go, and I think a lot of guys value the 4 days off, and we're just like, I on like a short notice, I don't want to go pitch in the All-Star game. I think a lot of guys like 6 weeks before, like a month before their All-Star break, they're like, all right, what can I do during all, you're thinking about all this time you get off. It's such a long season. It's just hard to like go in and do it. And he was willing to do it. He was fresh, 5 starts, like whatever. And he's nasty. Why not do it again? Who cares?
True. I got 2 questions. I was going to ask this one, but since you brought up the All-Star break, is there something you think we could change for the All-Star break? Maybe give it a week off so all those guys that actually get picked can at least come and show up and pitch for an inning? Because it seems like it's always the pitchers that get screwed out of a nod to be on the All-Star game. What do you think about that, or is that just too far-fetched?
No, I'm down, Stu. A week All-Star break would be amazing. It's such a long season. Like,
yeah,
it's for spring and everything's like 8, 9 months. It's crazy with like, especially if you're in the World Series or in the playoffs, it's just such a long time. And I do think that week break, like you can navigate it however you want. If you're a guy who needs to throw, you can go throw plyos or whatever, take a couple days off, do this, do that. But when you go in, it's because it's not, I think a lot of times too, you need like that emotional or like the mental recharge. And when you go to the All-Star game, it's like home run derby and then all that media. And then you go into the All-Star game and then you have to fly home. So you basically get one day off and then you have that workout the day before the break's over. So you get like it's not like you get penalized for being good, but I think like if you are an all-star, you end up just like never getting a break. So I do think if you extend it like 3 more days, give it a week to where everybody gets those like that like 3 day of nothing, that'd be a great idea.
And then the question along the other lines that we were talking about, Clayton Kershaw, what have you learned from him, through injuries and watching how he comes back? And how cool was it growing up watching him and now seeing him getting his 3,000th strikeout?
Yeah, it's honestly one of the most like impressive people I've been around in baseball. I think having him be in that organization for so long, like you can definitely tell. I don't know where the culture was like established, but I think a lot of it is like within him, like the way he goes about his week and the way he just goes about competing. Like he's not only a player, he seems very much like a coach and a front office guy. Like so much revolves around, I think, what he thinks because he's so highly respected. And I think just the mentality of like always go out and try to toe the rubber whenever you can. Don't always have to feel perfect. And like the way he grinds in between the week, like he works extremely hard still. And I think the thing that impresses me the most about him is like the intensity he brings to start day every week. And I think when you play with enough guys from like when they're a rookie to the end of their career, I think like there are a bit of maybe changes. Like you have the intensity or like the nervousness and like that energy is there when you're younger. And I think you learn to like manage it. And then maybe towards the end, you don't have as much fire, I guess, if that's the right word I'm looking for. But like to this day, his routine going into the training room before, like everything he does has been, from what I've heard, like pretty much the exact same as when he was a rookie. And it's not like, I think a lot of people assume that it comes like he's a very talented pitcher, obviously, but I think people assume it's just like an easy thing for him. But like when you see the like not the stress, but like the intensity that he takes every single fifth day, like this isn't a walk in the park for him at all. Like this is a very like season is stressful. He's got all like tons of kids, like he's so good at like being a dad and juggling that, and every single thing he does in his life is very like just good. He does everything at the highest level. So I think just watching someone navigate a season and like a life the way he does is like very, very impressive. I haven't really played with someone as dialed in as him. I played with a lot of really good veterans who do it like their own way, but he's just kind of like he's just a freak. Like it's so hard to explain.
Think that he was supposed to be is what I tell everybody when they ask me. So the one question, you grew up a Dodgers fan, did you ever tell him like, hey, I watched you as a kid and make him feel older? Because he got me good when I showed up and said, oh, I'm not the greatest starter anymore. So I would hope you gave him a few jabs about being old.
When I first got over there, they asked like, who's your favorite player growing up? And he's like, I don't know, was it 5 years older than me? And I was like, Clayton Kershaw. I used to watch him with my dad in high school, and like Barnes would make so much fun of me, just like, and we are all like locker buddies, and he would just be like, hey, remember when you said Clayton was your favorite player? And he's like kind of your age, and he'd always just like, so I think doing that, like just being so young and watching him, I think made him feel pretty old, just being like, you're my favorite player I've watched since I was like a young kid. So he's probably like, oh, that's kind of weird, but yeah.
No, that's perfect, because I did that with Eleno when I came into St. Louis. I was like, hey, I remember watching you growing up in the World Series. He's like, dude, I was only like 23 in that World Series. And I think he's 6-7 years older than me. So no, that's perfect. Hey, one thing I realized when I got over there is the culture that they have there. And you kind of alluded to it with the way Clayton goes about his business and all that. The way that they include everybody. You got so many superstars there. We had the post-series win when everybody was saluted on, player of the game and stuff like that. What are the vibes like that when you guys win series and stuff like that? I know that Miggy Rojas always puts on a show for everyone. Is he still holding court for everybody?
Yeah. We go. So if we win a series, we all group up and we take like a post-game shot, and then if we sweep a series, we do another one after. But yeah, Miggy Rowe is like a huge piece of our team. He's the mic guy. He does our post-game or like series win speeches, and then whoever is like the player of the series will get up to say something. and then they'll pass it on to the next guy to the next series. But that's like a huge thing. I feel like if a team's not doing, they should definitely do. I think I came from Pittsburgh to Tampa, and Kiermaier was a guy in Tampa who did that, and it was very like, I think through the course of like the ups and downs of seasons, like always having a routine to where if you win, like something to celebrate, and like to call guys out for doing well is like essential. And I think seeing that for the first time, and then coming to the Dodgers and seeing how like ironed out and like buttoned up it is, and it's just everything seems to like fit in place. And there's like I don't know, I guess a plan for everything. It's like it's super essential for a winning team. I think just to like celebrate the small wins. And Miggy Rowe is phenomenal on the mic, and I think a lot of people always look forward to the meetings and like the wins after, just to be able to do that.
Oh yeah, Miggy's one of the best.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I'll get you one on the current status. It's a rut for the team. I mean, it's not going to get covered much on this show because we see the talented roster and they're still clear of first place by several games. It's not like the team's cruising through. The Padres are on the Dodgers' tail. But my question for you is, how do you observe a veteran team like this that is talented, that's been here year after year, go through the balance of a tough stretch and saying, hey, we got to fix this and get it right, but also we probably should just be doing what we've been doing for most of our careers because the organization makes the playoffs?
Yeah, I think there's always like a point in the season where you're in a rut. Like we had one last year when I was here for my first year here. I know in 17, I think they lost like 11 in a row and then went to the World Series. So I think it's not like a super big panic moment. I think people understand when you're not playing good, it like sucks and it's not as like great in the clubhouse. And I think it's just at this moment, we're not really clicking on like any of the cylinders. And I think it's just kind of like how baseball goes. Like you could be hitting well, not pitching well. Then it flips around. Then the bullpen's dominating and hitting's a little bad, or defense. It's just kind of like the ebbs and flows of like things are good, things are bad. And then like, it's just I guess like the law of chance or whatever. It's like probability is just like at some point, all of them are going to be on a downswing, and it just so happens to be right now. But I guess it makes you realize like when you have bad moments, like when we do start to play good again, it's like, it makes you appreciate it a lot more. Like you can't have like the good, happy series win, Miggy Rowe speeches without like I don't know, just like appreciating when it's good and when it's bad. And it's just right now we're just in a rut, but we'll get out of it. It's still, we have a lot of baseball left.
Yeah, we're in mid-July. So I'll get to an Ohtani question here. I mean, obviously we don't get to talk to him. Most people don't. You do. So what do you have for us on him this year? Like something different with him. We're following what he's doing on the field, but anything different with him or any recent conversations that are worth pointing out? You know, our whole audience is just dying to get something on him because, you know, you just don't get a lot of access. We know he's busy trying to get back to being a 5-6 inning starter while still hitting every day.
I don't know. I think like what are some things? He reads comic books on the flight. Do you guys know that's a thing? I guess. I don't know.
No,
Maybe you guys know that. Yeah, he's like he's very like I don't know, like not, I don't think he has many distractions going on. Like we'll have like a 5-hour flight and he'll read like comic books the whole time. Like I think he likes the story and the arc, and it's kind of interesting to me. I think it's really kind of fascinating for him to just go and like, and especially a world of like iPads and TikTok and crazy stuff. He's kind of still going old school comic books, and he just wrote that book, like the Decoy Saves Opening Day. So like clearly he's doing stuff away from the field. And then the other thing, what else could I say? I think what was impressive to me about he went and pitched his last time, shoved, was like sitting 100, had like a bunch of Ks, just they had no chance. And I think he went 0 for 4 that day. And I think just going up and being like, hey man, great job, like pitching. He was like, no, like 0 for 4. I think the standard he holds himself to is extremely impressive. I think it's such a hard thing to do, to go out there and pitch multiple innings and then go out and hit. And I think just like I said, I guess the standard he holds himself to where like both of those have to be ironed out for him to feel satisfied is like pretty impressive to me.
Very, very impressive. Yeah. Last one here. Saw you were at the ESPYs front row next to Freeman there. You got some one there. Shane Gillis was doing the monologue. They showed you a little bit. You were laughing, had a good time. Talk to us about that. How cool was that?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, like I knew when I heard Shane was hosting, I was like, I gotta go. And it's in LA, like I have to somehow get there. And I kind of knew it was gonna be a little like a crazy moment on the mic just because he's that type of comic. And I've always loved comedy, like my whole life. Me and my family have always been like really big fans of whatever. Like the more vulgar, the better, I think. Just because comedy is kind of that thing. If you can laugh about it, like and you can make anything funny. And I think there's like really no rules. So I loved it. I heard he was hosting, and I went. Me and my wife went and sat there, and it was incredible. It was a little, I think, in the moment, and like especially being there with a lot of the front row section was like a ton of athletes and like a pretty good amount of like WNBA players. So it was a little tense when he was making all those jokes. But I think it was like good spirited. Like he was just, I don't know. I think if I was a WNBA player, I'd be a little annoyed, I guess. But it's just, you kind of know what you're going to get with him. And like if you go watch Tires or any of his stand up specials, like that's what you're going to get. And I think ESPN was just like, oh, let's
Of
get the
course.
ratings and the clicks and stuff after. But he did a really good job. And I think too, sitting there watching, like having to perform as a baseball player and then relating that to him having to go up and perform. And I listened to his podcast before too. And like he'll talk about like how nervous he is before. And I just think he killed it. He like went up and did a good job. And I think to go up there and say all that crazy shit is it's crazy. It's like, it's got to be pretty nerve wracking. So, I mean, it was a really good time. And it was just nice to see like all those athletes and like people go up and speak and perform and anything like that, like award shows, especially like with athletes. It was a super good time. And I mean, I would do it again. It was awesome.
It's ballsy, even though that's his job. So I got one follow up for you. You know, he's doing this for his career. He's done a billion stand ups, but this one's different. You're in front of the top athletes on the planet, and he's a big sports fan. So my
Yeah.
question is, do you think that most athletes in the room that you're around know the gist of how comedians operate and how he specifically operates? It might sound like a dumb question for someone like you who's paying attention to his career, someone like me, but I wasn't there. So I would love to read the room and be like, do they understand that he is an unhinged comedian and he is brought here to do just that? And I mean, whatever you believe his beliefs are, like he genuinely is paid to just like stir the pot. That is his
Yeah.
job, and it's acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people know of him. They do. And then the people that don't know of him are probably like, well, I didn't sign up for this. Like, I'm sure there's a little bit of both, but I think like if where's any sort of concern or like how, I mean, if there are people that work, like you can figure it out. Like you're like, all right, Shane Gillis is hosting. You know what I mean? Like you can draw the line to like see kind of how he is. But I'm sure there were some people that don't know anything about Shane Gillis and were like, whoa, that's pretty gnarly. But I think the ESPYS have had kind of a history of doing like some crazy hosts. What's this? Norm Macdonald did it a while
Yeah.
ago. So I think
Yeah.
it's not like so it's been done before, so it wasn't crazy. I think it's just kind of how it is. And like there's even like the other award shows, like Ricky Gervais says like crazy shit. It just kind of it is what it is. And like I don't know. I just think it's in the world of comedy too. It's like I just don't think there are really any rules, and that's what's good about it, in my opinion. Like it's just if you laugh, it's funny, and I understand it can be like offensive sometimes, and especially people who don't know or like didn't sign up for it. It's probably a little shocking, um, but it is what it is. I mean, ESPN made the decision, and I think it was good. I don't know about like the ratings and stuff. It was a little tense in
Oh
the room,
yeah.
like I said. I got a lot of people. I don't know if like laughed as hard as people did at home, but I think it probably worked out for them ratings wise.
Yeah, if you look up the monologue afterwards, how many views, the whole thing, I mean, they definitely got the pop that they were looking for. That's my thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not as if they announced him 24 hours before.
Yeah.
You know, they
Right,
told
right,
you.
right.
So if you don't know the gist, then agent, publicist, whatever, would probably be the one to say, hey, just so you know, you might get made fun of at a pretty intense level. Are you good to
Yeah.
go? You're signing up for this. They're not forcing you to go. You're not getting paid millions of dollars to show up to it. So anyway, yeah, I was curious how the room was because from my view, like, it was just a fascinating case study. But I
Yeah,
could talk
for
all
sure.
day about that. But anyway, Tyler, awesome to have you back on. Good to see you, dude. We'll catch you down the line. And how did Lance do on his hosting debut here?
Fucking great. It was awesome. I always love coming on the show. It's cool just to have a bunch of like older like players and stuff come on too. And you were one of the first people I've ever seen pitch when I was with Pittsburgh. You were opening day
That's right.
starter. It was a rough game for you, but I mean, Whatever. We all got rough games.
It was. Was I with the Twins then?
Yeah, I think it was Twins opening day. I think you gave up you were doing really well. You were shoving it. I think you gave up a grand slam, but you ended up shoving that
yes,
year.
I did.
Like you did a lot of years. But yeah, it was just sick to watch you pitch opening day. I was in the bullpen rotting away, or wherever I was watching you. It was just sick.
Yeah, they were hiding you. Somehow the Pirates were hiding you. I don't know what they were doing.
They're good at that.
Wow, we could do an hour on that, but maybe in the off season. Tyler, good catching up, dude.
All right, see you guys. Thanks for having me.
See you, man.
Yeah, same
Bye.
here. That's Tyler Glasnow of the Dodgers. We'll be right back. Hey, this is a tough one. We'll take 2 minutes on it just to get player perspective here. Ketel Marte was at the All-Star game and then came back and found out his home was burglarized. He's planning to DH tonight in his first game back since the All-Star break. He was placed on the restricted list to deal with things. I mean, he said he lost about $400,000 in possessions. I don't know. I don't have anywhere to go here, but just wanted to get perspective here on how tough this can be and really also how you welcome someone back from this after they've been out for a couple days and dealt with something that's not just possessions, but a safety concern.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. Anytime your home's like, that's just wild. And the problem is they know where they're at, right? It's looking at other sports too. NFL gets hit on their primetime games. The guys that got hit on that. So it's just crazy how it's going right now. Obviously you feel bad for him and his family because their privacy is definitely taken from them right there. So hopefully they find who did it and they get him and he can get back to playing baseball and keeping his family safe.
It's tough. Sounds like somebody knew about this All-Star break and knew he wasn't going to be there. Inside opportunity. Don't even want to talk about it. This one. What
would you say to him when he comes back, though, just to try and get him right? I mean, the Diamondbacks had a great weekend. They swept the Cardinals, and they've got this whole vibe going where they want to make it tough on their front office to sell.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is, hey, listen, you got a great life. Forget about these things and understand that you're going to be wealthy, man, whether you lose these or not. You got a great family backing you, and just understand the people that did do this, I guess they needed it, and at the end of the day, they're not good people, and you just got to move on. I mean, you can control what you can control. And then you're frustrated, infuriated, and he's mad, but everybody else in the family that he has is even more upset. So he's got to be the leader of the whole thing.
You've got a sport where you can try and at least, maybe take some anger out.
Yeah, with your bat, but in hitting baseballs. But it's tough. This is just sucky. It's really sucky that people got to do this stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. All right, we'll be right back. Hot corner time. All right, let's get into a little trade deadline discussion, shall we? We'll start with a team that I think will be incredibly popular no matter what they say. Mike Elias was on MLB Network Radio the other day and said that he will not be, quote, blowing up the team at the trade deadline. I mean, no crap. They're not selling away the core players. We get that. But he said players on expiring contracts are at the top of the list. He will be passive about trading other players. This is Jacob Calvin-Meyer, who covers the team every day. Great on FT when he's on with us, giving us a little summary of what went down. He said, this is Elias now, quote, "We think we're going to be very good again in 2026. I mean, I don't disagree with anything he said there. Okay, not trading the core, got it. Trading away guys that are going to be free agents after this year, and maybe guys that are going to be free agents after 26, we'll see. And then he thinks they're going to be good. Yep, all makes sense. In 26, he thinks they're going to be good.
They blow it, man. They blew it a couple of years ago with everybody they had prospects-wise. We've talked about this. I'm sick of talking about it.
I know. But now what's the next step is they actually have a lot of guys that they can trade away right now. I was on Baltimore radio the other day, and they wanted to know how far it goes. Like some of them, on the hosts on the show, were like, "I think they should trade Felix Bautista," and I'm like, "Yeah, Felix Bautista costs almost nothing right now. He's one of the best relievers in the sport. He's the closer of a team that you think is going to be good next year, and he's under control for at least 2 more years after this year, as far as I know, Lance. Why would you trade him? It's not like you find those guys on trees, and if you're getting them in free agency, they're rarely available even in free agency, and when they are, it costs a ton of money. So I'm like, is there a prospect package that even makes sense for him? For me, no.
No, definitely not. Especially if you're competing next year, you can't lose that from your bullpen. I think it was pretty obvious. Hey, we're going to trade away with expiring contracts. Yeah, you do that. You get some, pitching depth, maybe some starter depth, and then you figure out what you got to do next offseason to get some aces and to go with your young guys, and then you hope for some, health. To be honest with you, I mean, they had a weird year. And then, their free agent signings didn't work out. So regroup, trade the guys that are on expiring contracts, get as much as you can, and then let that core go to work next year with a good offseason.
You're keeping Felix Bautista, no?
Yeah.
100.
How is that even?
Yeah,
that one
I
for me is, yeah. I'm like anyone that's in Baltimore that's thinking with that mindset is drinking too much of the prospect 5-year plan Kool-Aid.
Gatorade.
Your time is now.
Yeah,
I mean, not this year, but your time's 26 again.
Yeah. Could they be great? Yeah, but I don't know. The way their trajectory, I don't understand how they're not great. It's just, their brass needs to figure it out, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. And
It's a bad winner, man.
Yeah, they've had injuries. That's a great call.
Bad winner.
But they've also had some injuries that are starters, which sucks too as well. So they didn't do anything.
Well, they did things. They just did the wrong things.
That's I don't know. They didn't do anything good.
Right. They banked on the starters they had.
Scott knows this. I said in the beginning of the year, they're not going to make the playoffs. I said they don't do anything right from the brass perspective. I'm not blaming the players. I'm blaming the people up top.
Transactions they missed. Yeah. They've done a nice job drafting and developing. But so basically from what he said, it's the Cedric Mullins, Ryan O'Hearn, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Gregory Soto. These are all guys that I think are free agents after this year. Those types of players make sense. For me, Ramon Laureano does have an option for next year, but I would think, you're catching him when his stock's at its highest. You want to make a case on him, okay. You can find someone like that. I don't think you're finding a Felix Bautista that easily. So to me, if you're doing that, you're resetting the trajectory. I know it's one player, but that's eliminating an inning for you throughout a season and in the playoffs. Because the other thing, Lance, is that they haven't won a playoff game during this run. So again, if you're good next year, you better not get to a point where you're looking for high leverage bullpen help and you're blowing games late because you traded Felix Bautista. They traded Brian Baker, who was more of a, late bloomer, great story. They were able to get him right? And then moved him to the Rays with multiple years of team control. For me, I'm not even doing that. Like, how it is. Like, some teams are really good at finding and developing bullpen guys. And then for me, I know that it's volatile, but like sometimes guys click in the right place and they can be really valuable for like a 3 to 5 year period, like in their prime for you. So I'm holding on to all of that. If I'm a contender, I'm not trading that away.
No, I'm with you. If you have team control beyond next year, you don't get rid of them with what they have. And then you figure out, get as much as you can for anybody who you don't see being there next year. It's going to be a free agent. And then you got to go all in next offseason. You got to go get the arms. You kind of look at what Houston did years ago when they went and got Cole, Verlander, all that. It's time for them to go all in and spend some money and make sure you lock up that young core too, because those guys are starting to trickle into where they're going to make some money. And if you don't have them locked in, then you're doing all this for nothing. And then you're looking at a full retool again. So it's time for them to go for sure. And like you said, I think they missed the boat this offseason with that core. They should have, had a little different, did a different go at it, especially with their starters.
Okay, let's do one more. We're focusing on bullpen for this segment. Ken Rosenthal came out with his latest notes column. He has Fair Territory that's out right now. If you want to consume that podcast, YouTube, whatever. Obviously, just look up Fair Territory. But also, we'll talk to him about this notes column tomorrow. Here's one that I want to dive into for a moment. The Athletics resolved to keep Mason Miller could be subject to change, sources telling Ken. A year ago, Miller was untouchable. To this point, the A's messaging this season is pretty much the same, but according to sources telling Ken the team's plans, that stance is subject to change. The way the A's see it, only a few teams are bold enough to propose an offer worthy of consideration. Phillies, Dodgers, Yankees figure to be near the top of the suitors list for the flame-throwing reliever, while the Padres and Mariners can never be counted out when top talent becomes available. To me, this means we went from 0% chance to like 10 to 20% chance, but that still means that he went from unavailable to available. You want to entice them, he's now available. So this is not necessarily like their big closer they're going to build around.
How many years does he have left before everything?
Before free agency or
Yeah.
before free agency, he probably still has.
Is
I would
he
say,
going into R1 after this year?
I want to say, yeah. I think he's still on the league min. I'll get that for you in one sec.
Well,
but probably 3 or 4 years left until he's, let's see,
Once you find
earliest free agent year, 2030.
that's
And ARB eligible 26. Yep.
all right, perfect. Go after if this is the case, whether it's 10, 12, 1, 2, 17, 85%. I don't care. This is where a team like the Orioles, per se,
Yeah.
give 3 prospects for this big dog. You know,
the Orioles? Oh,
no,
because
I'm just saying because they got it. If you have an opportunity to get a guy here for 4 or 5 years through arbitration, this guy is the most premier closer in baseball. He's filthy. I mean, Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers, yeah, of course, the big games are looking. Throw an extra guy in there. I've always said this, man. I've always talked about this. What's his name? For the Red Sox, the lefty they got from the White Sox. Pitcher.
Crochet.
They were killing me, the Boston fans. I said, give him 5 prospects. And they almost did. Actually, I was almost right. But at the same time,
4, right?
Yeah. Go ahead and go after a guy. These young guys you have down there, they're prospects for a reason. Give them to a team who thinks they can build them up and make them better. This is an opportunity to get a freaking monster play here, if it's the case.
Yeah, although the A's should eventually keep some guys.
Yeah, you keep them when you're ready to go to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the question is, when are they ever going to make a push? And I don't see it in his time. So why not get as many prospects as you can when you look on the other way, right? You try to get 5 prospects for him that you can, next thing you know, 3 of those 5 hit, and then you got a better ball club. But this guy's prime or his cheap years, you're probably not going to compete. So it's similar with what's going on with Skenes in Pittsburgh, man. You're just wasting away, and then if you wait too long and you never compete, then you might not get anything for him. So get as much as you can, and then go from there.
Yep. All right, a lot more to cover trade deadline wise. We'll have Ken on, I believe, tomorrow, and many of our other, writer insider types, including Katie Woo. She's going to join us next for the Cardinals' perspective. Are they back to sell status? Fit check. Lance, let's see what we got here for the Speedway Classic, which I'm into. I think this is cool. The more that MLB can do games in cool places, sign me up. They're going to do it at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's coming up. It's right after the trade deadline, August 2nd.
Nice.
You'll have the Braves and the Reds, and they're showing off the uniforms. You've got the fire for Atlanta, and then you've got the checkered flag kind of look for Cincinnati. Do we like both of these, and which one do we like better?
I think they're spot on. I think both of them are great. I think another way of MLB to branch out and make things more interesting and people to be like, wow, all right, pretty cool. He gets a little NASCAR side and an opportunity to baseball to have a little more fun with the sport.
No, I love it. Look, that's a good look, and I think every fan should wear jean shorts and a cutoff shirt just because it's at a racetrack. Let's get after it.
What about players? Should they have gone even further, or did they hit the right note with the unis?
I love it. I love what they're doing. It's always fun to play at different places throughout a year. It kind of breaks up the season a little bit. But when you're the first person to play at a place, it's kind of cool. So I love the unis. When you're looking at what they're trying to accomplish there, I think that they're doing what they set out to do. So I'm looking forward to that.
You did Field of Dreams one year?
I did the Field of Dreams game. Yep. I was with Chicago. That was crazy, man. Just the flying in, playing that day, something you were never expecting, but it was, great atmosphere, great game. Man, it was cool. I did the Puerto Rican series too one year with Twins and the Guardians. So I've got lucky with a few of them. One of the did the Little League World Series game too. So I've been lucky along the way here to play some of the cool ones for sure.
And you'll be at Little League, right?
I'll be there. Yep, I got another year coming.
What do we
He
got?
runs
two
it.
and a half?
He runs
Yeah,
with
he
his
does. He does. The Don of Williamsport. I'm sitting next to him.
Good time.
But he's not. It's not yet. In 3 weeks, he suddenly turns into the Don of Williamsport.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Excuse me. What did you do
I'm
when
excited.
you were 12?
I've actually been watching here and there some teams, like with the new. There we go.
Hey, we've got Katie Woo from Cardinal Territory and, of course, The Athletic joining us right now. And, Katie, great to have you on for former Cardinal great Lance Lynn making his Foul Territory hosting debut. How are you? And you ready for the tough questions from Lance instead of doing it when you were asking him the tough questions?
Yeah, Lance, bet you thought you'd seen the last of me.
Right. Yeah. So, Katie always had fun because she'd be worried about giving me a chance to answer a question with one answer. If you give me a yes or no question, I was going to answer it yes or no and move on. I was not going to help you out at all. So she saw me do it to quite a few people last year. We had some fun with it.
Yeah, it was, I was always, in a way, Lance, you made me better because I had to be so strategic about the way that I asked a question. And I'll give you this. If a reporter asks you like a thought out, well-researched question, you gave great answers. But the second we slip up, you're on it. And I did that a couple times, my colleagues a couple times, and I did not want to be exposed on the post-game show. Okay, my dad watches that show. He was going to roast me. Cardinals Twitter is going to roast me, and you can't let Lance Lynn flame you on live TV. So let's try to keep that a steady thing on this show.
Everybody knew what I was after. Give me a chance to make you earn it. That's for sure. That's what it was.
It was training.
Of course.
He's such a good teammate that he's trying to even make the media better on a daily basis.
That's
I'll give him that. All right, so let's get into biz here, Katie. The Cardinals got swept over the weekend. Buyers, sellers, where are we tilting the pendulum right now?
Yeah, so it's obviously not how you wanted to start the second half. And John Mozeliak has said even in early July that he's prepared to go into the final week or 72 hours even before the trade deadline, before he makes a decision on what the Cardinals will do. I will say, whether the Cardinals buy, sell, or hold, it won't be to any extreme degree. Right now, as they hover just 2 games over 500, they've had a really just bad July. They've won just 3 out of their 14 games. 2 key players in Lars Nootbaar, Nolan Gorman on the injured list, and then their starting rotation has an ERA over 7 in July. So just all around not good baseball for the Cardinals lately. Comes at a time where they're going to have to make a decision about their direction. And they still aren't 100% sure where they're going to go. If the Cardinals do sell, however, Scott, I don't think it's going to be in a fire sale by any means. I think you're looking at more of a soft sell-off, similar to what they did in 2023, where they were offloading players on expiring contracts. Look, we knew that this season was going to be a transition year. And while I think the team did a really nice job and maybe overperforming a lot of the expectations coming into this season, right now you're kind of seeing some regression, especially from the rotation. And what the Cardinals must figure out is what's more important to them right now, trying to sneak in and maybe hopefully getting that final wild card spot in the second half, or continuing on the path that they declared at the start of the season, which is looking at 2026 and beyond. I'm prepared for this, and I think the Cardinals are as well, to go again up until the final 72 hours before the deadline.
Kay, do you see with their youth, they have the ability to do both at the deadline because they've got a good, decent core of pitching and hitting. And then if you can figure out maybe expiring contracts, how to add to that. So it's for next year also, but maybe something that can help them push down the stretch and maybe sneak in that final wild card spot. I feel like there's a way they can kind of do both here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think that just depends on if they can turn it around against the Rockies here in Coors Field. And then they have 4 games against the Padres at Busch Stadium. I think those 7 games will dictate if they can kind of straddle the fence. And that's what they've been doing all season long, right? We've heard this all year. Can the Cardinals balance runway and results at the same time? And to their credit, in the first half, they did for the most part. A good example of this, maybe straddling that fence, would be the fact that the Cardinals are continuing to shop Eric Fetty. And this is someone that they're going to look to trade regardless if they buy or sell, because it allows them to trade someone that's going to be on an expiring contract. He'll be a free agent in 2026. It opens the door for Michael McGreevy, who will spot start today against the Rockies. But maybe we'll give him some extended time, some consistent time in the rotation, because he hasn't had that. You can also look to trade away some of your relievers like Steven Matz, Phil Maton, of course, Ryan Helsley, who I'm sure we'll get into. The only problem with that is if you're trying to compete in the second half, those are the 3 relievers that have made the most impact in the late innings. They've been absolutely instrumental in locking down leads in the 7th, 8th, 9th. I know Helsley has not had as dominant of a year as he had last year, but still very much the team's closer, and it doesn't look like the Cardinals really have someone that they trust filling that role if they get rid of Helsley. So they're, again, just kind of what is it? When you're on like a balancing rope, tightrope, is that a thing?
Tightrope.
Yes, that there. Thank you. That's where they are right now as they continue to go into the deadline. And Mo has said all season long he hopes that he has difficult decisions to make. If the Cardinals flame out against the Rockies, I think that decision will be a little easier. I think they'll lean to the soft sell. But to your point, Lance, they can absolutely do both.
Yeah, one name you haven't said yet, Nolan Arenado. I mean, no trade clause. Have you heard anything about certain teams that he might go to or he might not go to if that's the case?
As far as I know, it doesn't seem like there's been any change in the 5 teams that Nolan Arenado would accept a trade to. And we know those teams coming into the season were the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, possibly the Astros, even though he didn't. And I'm missing one. Help me out, guys. What did I already say? Dodgers? Padres. There we go. There's my 5th.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's been all California, right? It doesn't seem like there's been any change in that regard. And plus, Nolan will be the first to say his offensive performance has not really led to maybe any kind of increased trade value like he would have hoped. He's playing a gold standard third base again. He looks just like he's 25 years old at the hot corner again. But when his offensive production has declined, the slugging is down, the OPS is down, he's not hitting a ton of homers. So it also goes into that contract, which was a big reason why the Cardinals struggled to trade him over the offseason in the first place. Doesn't sound like there's a lot of traction on the Arenado front. I would imagine we revisit that conversation in the offseason.
Okay, and you started talking about him, so let's keep it rolling. Ryan Helsley, thoughts on if they do end up selling, how much he could command, and what kind of season has it been for him compared to the last couple?
It's been a perplexing season for Helsley because if you look at the amount of times that, his hard hit rate, the fastball velo is exactly the same as last year. It's still one of the best fastballs in the game in terms of a velocity standpoint. He's just getting hit really hard, and it's been kind of a struggle for the Cardinals pitching coach Dusty Blake and Ryan Helsley to figure out what's changed. I mean, that just kind of speaks to the volatility of being a reliever, especially a closer. Now, just because Ryan Helsley is not as dominant as he was last year doesn't mean that his value has completely tanked. We know this. Any contending team is looking for high leverage, high octane relief pitching at the deadline. Could Ryan Helsley still command a return for the Cardinals? Absolutely. But if the Cardinals think that they can still contend and still compete in the second half and again sneak into that wild card, they're not going to move him. Now that brings into question, well, what are they going to do with him in the future? That's not a John Mozeliak decision. That's a Chaim Bloom decision. He'll take over the roster changes, of course, after the end of the 2025 regular season. What the Cardinals have to weigh with Helsley specifically is, are they built to contend in the next 2 months? Can they sneak into the second or the final wild card spot? Is it worth holding on to Helsley to try to kind of reach that fever dream of a postseason? Or should they stick to status quo and focus on the future? If they decide to do that, I imagine they'll move Helsley.
If they're looking to buy, is there anybody that's off limits? I know in the past Walker's been off limits and stuff like that. Are they still in the same boat with those guys?
I think so. And I think what makes it that way is when you look at how this team is currently constructed, is there one trade out there that all of a sudden makes this team a perennial contender? All of a sudden you're thinking, okay, the Cardinals can beat the Dodgers in a 5-game set, can beat the Phillies in a 7-game set. In my opinion, not really. We don't know much about the market right now because there are so many teams like the Cardinals, the bubble teams, if you will, that have not yet decided what their direction is going to be at the deadline. But I just look at this Cardinals team that is in transition, where they are trying to figure out a lot about which guys can they build on their future, which guys are they going to move on from, where it doesn't seem like there's someone they can go out there and add and automatically make them a surefire contender. And I don't think that John Mozeliak and the Cardinals are going to trade away from this future, from this core that they pledged on giving an entire season to figure out. So that's why I caution, whether it's buying or selling, I don't see the Cardinals really going big in either direction. You're maybe looking at an incremental rental if they buy or a soft sell-off if they sell. And again, guys, this series against the Rockies will probably dictate what they do.
Well, hey, if you're going to have a series that decides your season, I would raise my hand for the Rockies, even though they just played better against the Twins and took 2 out of 3. If you ask most players, you poll them, hey, who do you want with your season on the line? I think you'll get a lot of Rockies answers right now. But I'll backtrack for a moment to get granular on what just happened. What went wrong on their first series here after the All-Star break?
Well, you're only as good as your rotation is, as Lance knows. When you have a starting pitching staff that gives up 5-6 runs before the third inning's over, and you have an offense that's not really clicking, that really puts you in a hole. I mean, Andre Pallante came out there, allowed 6 runs, 5 earned in the first 3 innings. Sonny Gray gave up 9 runs, 8 earned in his outing on Saturday, and Miles Michaelis gave up 5 runs in 4 innings. And it just felt like the Cardinals were competitively out of it before they even really got a chance to start the game. And this rotation did a really nice job in the first half of, their pitch to contact staff. We talk about the Cardinals every year. Every now and then, balls are going to go through. Guys are, you're not going to hit at a guy every single time. The Cardinals starters did a nice job of weathering the storm and keeping the team in contention in every game. In July, that hasn't been the case. They have been hit really hard, whether you're looking at Miles Michaelis, whether you're looking at Eric Fetty. Sonny Gray's had some nice games, but as of late, it hasn't been as effective. Matthew Liberatore has already surpassed the amount of innings he threw last year. That's why Michael McGreevy is spot starting today, to try to give him some sort of extended rest coming out of the break. So it just kind of feels like the perfect snowball of things not going right. That definitely happened in Arizona. It's really hard to play a competitive baseball game when your rotation isn't really giving you a chance from the start, and that's what happened in all 3 games.
All right, lastly, Katie, I hope you had a nice All-Star break, although I think the last game that you were covered, if you happened to be there, went kind of halfway into the All-Star break. I remember I was at dinner on, Sunday night, and they had something going on. What was it, the celebrity game or something like that? And the Cardinals game was still going. That was really kind of a microcosm of some of the weather that you dealt with in the first half of this season, didn't it?
I don't know what the first half was, but I hope to never experience something like that again. I think we've set a record for double headers. I left Busch Stadium at like 10:30 the night before the All-Star break. I need to apologize to my fellow media members. Who I was that night was not a reflection of who I am as an employee, but we were very much over it. Okay, we were over it. And then we roll into the All-Star break, and I don't know if you guys can tell, I caught the flu. So just all around vibes really not good. But you know what? We're going to grind it out. We'll play a little hurt today. It's all right. My second half starts today because I didn't do the Arizona series. And I'm hoping for just better all around, more positive vibes. No rain ever again. And maybe the Cardinals can figure it out and make things interesting over the final 2 months.
Yeah, I feel like that's all fair. And she just had her flu performance just now.
Yeah, Michael Jordan flu game is coming today.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There you go. Hey, if that doesn't impress Lance, I don't know what does. Lance?
I'm impressed. It didn't keep her down. She did what she needed to do. So don't get any of the guys sick, though.
Yeah, they're not going to let me in that house today. Get outside.
Distance. Katie, you're the best. Thank you so much. Feel better. We'll talk soon.
Thanks. So good to see you guys. Talk to you later, Lance.
Okay.
See ya.
Cardinal Territory with Katie Woo running the ship, and Bernie on her side as well, going through trade deadline conversations over the next 10 days. I wish it was extended. We talked about that on Friday if you want to listen to that conversation. Anyway, we'll be right back and we'll sift through more rumors, and we'll cover the hottest team by far in baseball. BetMGM Locks. Friday was a big fat L.
Oof.
Yeah. Didn't happen. All right, so let's re-rack. I'm down 132. Todd Father's up 805. And there's the rest of the crew on your screen. Should we put the rookie to the test first?
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we should.
Yeah, we
All
have
right.
to.
Lance, what do you got? Give us a pick.
I'm going to go with the same game parlay. We've got the Rays and the and over 9 runs. I'm going to go 100 to win 210. So that's my lock of the day.
Okay, so you got White Sox taking on the Rays to win, plus you're taking the over. You get a little run scoring action from the Rays and the White Sox.
I think both sides score a little bit. White Sox played well over the first series out of the break too, so I think there's going to be some runs scored tonight for sure.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, Shane Baz pitching on the Tampa Bay side. Todd, Father, you go, but I do have the Rays involved in mine as well.
Okay, yeah, I'm going Mets. Mets run line -1.5. I think they're going to come through today against the Angels. Sanger's pitching. I love him every time. So Mets to win by 1.5, +115. So 300 to win 345.
Boom. I'll do mine too, and then we'll get to Paps next go round. So I've got the Rays money line. I've got Baz beating down the White Sox and Tampa Bay beating up right-handed pitching. Tampa Bay's back home, which they're going to cherish because they don't have much home action over the next couple months. And then, and also obviously just a much better team. +111 when I add the Phillies money line with Zach Wheeler going tonight. It's a Wheeler day. So I'll take Wheeler to beat, it's Phillies Red Sox, Wheeler to beat Walker Buehler tonight. Yeah, Red Sox lost 2 out of 3 over the weekend to the Cubs. Phillies lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels. Wheeler start day plus the Rays to win. That's what I got for you. And we'll go over Pap's pick coming up in a bit. But next up on the docket, better than box scores, and we'll lead off with the Brewers streakiness. Then we'll get to Jazz Chisholm versus Eddie Perez, the battle that no one signed up for. Look out for the hottest team in baseball right now. Let's hit better than box scores. The Milwaukee Brewers have won 10 games in a row. It was 7 heading into the break. And then you meet up with the Dodgers coming into the second half of the season. And people were like, all right, they'll fizzle. That was their nice little run. Good timing for them. Nope. They swept LA. 2 of those games were one-run wins. Saturday 8-7, Sunday 6-5. Trevor McGill has been great this year, by the way, in the 9th inning for the Brew Crew. But you look at this rotation, Lance. They added Jacob Mizorowski, who nobody knew about a month ago, and now he's an all-star looking like a number 1 starter for them the rest of the way. Brandon Woodruff looks pretty damn good coming back now. The offense is clicking a little more, and they play that scrappy brand of baseball. What do you think of Milwaukee, and how do you match them up against the Cubs here in the division?
I like them to be right down to the end there. Depending on what team does what at the deadline here, I think both teams could maybe add a starting pitcher or maybe a little bullpen help. That's usually the go-to for teams making a run. But Milwaukee just wins baseball games, and they've done it for a long time, from top to bottom. Organizationally, their guys come play baseball. They play the game the right way. They do what they need to do. Murph has always got the guys ready to go. So you look at it, and then you look at their, you said Woodruff, the young kids throwing the ball as well as anybody, obviously, right? And you got Peralta. If you look at that team in a playoff series, if they get there with those 3 starters, and then if they might add whatever, they're going to be a team that just they don't do anything great, but they will not beat themselves, and then they can pitch, man. And if you get to that time of year, that's how you win baseball games and win series. So they're a team that you can never count out, and they frustrate you as an opposing team because you're like, man, you got Yelich, but Contreras has his streaks. They lost Adams. Hoskins is out. You're like, how are we losing to these guys? But all the other guys are tough at bats, man. They do not give away anything, and that's why they're a good baseball team.
They have always been there at the end, and now the Cubs are starting to make a little push here, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, this is another wire-to-wire finish. This is what baseball needs and loves. And the Brewers, they find their ways. They always have a way to make things interesting, don't get me wrong, but they always find a way. They are tough to beat at home. I don't care what anybody says. Playing at that ballpark, it's a ballpark, hitter-friendly, of course. It's a fun place to play, but the crowd's into it. You got that Midwest kind of energy a little bit, and they just battle. With Pat Murphy at the helm, those guys are going to win, and they're going to win at all costs. And it's a bunch of no names, like he says, even though I think there's a bunch of names that we all know. But they do. They go out there with a little something on their back, a little chip on their shoulder, and they go out and fight. And that's what you want to see.
They're 33-17 at home, 26-23 on the road, playing at what you're talking about, 59-40 on the season. Top records in all of baseball right now belong to the Tigers, the Brewers and Cubs, the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. Pretty cool. Playing to what you just said, Todd Father, Brewers manager and comedian Pat Murphy said, quote, "It's a bunch of guys that nobody has ever heard of. Like I said, no disrespect to the great fans of Japan baseball, but they can't name 5 players in our lineup." That's the good stuff.
I don't even know where that came from. That's funny.
It's probably one of those Murphy monikers.
I know what he's kind of saying about. I get it.
We played Shohei. They only know Shohei, and they don't know our team at all. That's what we got out of that.
Exactly. Right. You're watching Shohei and the Dodgers, and they're a bunch of super fans. The Dodgers are Japan's team these days, Lance, and they're probably looking over at Milwaukee and struggling to name anyone on that team aside from maybe Christian Yelich, because he's been doing it for a long time.
That'd be my only guess that they know. I would be surprised if they truly knew Milwaukee's. He's right. I would be shocked if they could name 5 guys in their lineup. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
The crazy thing is, I mean, there are some star level players in this lineup, like William Contreras with the bat compared to most catchers, right? Jackson Chourio, who's only in his 2nd season, he's 21 years old, and overall on the year he's been great. Christian Yelich in there. Andrew Vaughn was just picked up 2 weeks ago, and you played with him.
Back.
Yeah,
he's back, baby.
Did you
sometimes
see
when you get a breath of fresh air? Sometimes you
get
a breath of fresh air. You start playing a little bit. That Midwest breath of fresh air in Milwaukee, baby.
Oh yeah, well, especially when the roof's closed and the AC's not working. That's the good air right there.
I love it. I love pitching in Milwaukee. You talking about it being a hitter's park. I always threw the ball pretty well there. It's always a little chilly, so you just felt good. I'm a Midwest body myself, Todd. So I just fit in well up there.
Grizzly, baby, grizzly in the middle of the Midwest, and the heat in the summer and the cold in the fall.
Built for all of it, baby.
I mean, you got Freddie Peralta, Jose Quintana, Brandon Woodruff, Jacob Mizorowski, and Quinn Priester, who's been good lately. That's your 5. Again, I mean, people know the names here, but that's a solid 5, right? And if this becomes a playoff team, Lance, some mix of Freddie, Big Woo, and Jacob Mizorowski as your top 3 starters, stuff-wise, that's championship level.
You get if they're in the wild card round, you look at those 3, and then you're looking at next round. You throw Q out there, who is nothing but he locks in when he needs to. He's got the great pitch mix, and he's been there, done that. So if this team gets to the playoffs, man, they do not beat themselves. They pitch, they play defense, and they're not afraid to do the right things to win ball games.
Yeah, nobody knows their relievers either, but they're great. Trevor Miguel, the closer, after Uribe, Nick Mears, who they picked up from the Rockies last year. Very impressive. All right, let's do one more here. Jazz Chisholm and third base coach for the Braves, Eddie Perez, were exchanging words on Saturday. The league's actually investigating it more because I guess they thought Perez was threatening a little beanball action. There's the view. Laygraphs actually on Instagram sent us this view. I guess they were at the game of Jazz relaying signs. Lance, how would this go if you were pitching?
Well, you always know it's going to happen, right? Or it's possible to happen. So most likely they're getting it from the pitcher. So that's on the pitcher, whether he's got glove hand, if they're getting the pitch out of his glove and all that. So for me, it's part of it, right? If you don't like it as a pitcher, you got to clean your stuff up. I will say I read the quotes after the game. He was saying, "Hey, be smart about how you do it." Maybe he's talking about he didn't like the way he was going about relaying signs, but when it's all said and done, the day of just blasting the guy and hitting him and saying, "Okay, that's how we're going to stop the relay," is over. You can't do it. You're going to get suspended. You're going to get whatever. So you're looking at it as is. I always knew that it was a part of the game. You always pay attention to it. You always have to do it yourself to stop it. So I'm not the ones that say, "Hey, nobody can relay signs." I hate anything when that doesn't involve the guy seeing it with his own eyes. That's when I hate it. So if what they're doing is, it's been done for years, right, Todd? Like, we've seen it forever. If you're going to open your glove and flare it so I can see your changeup grip or your slider grip, that's on you, man. Tuck it and keep it tight. I hope that he wasn't saying, "Hey, we'll hit you in the head." He said, "Hey, how you're doing it." And, Jazz is Jazz, right? He doesn't care. You want to, but if you look at the way it looked on video too, it looked like he was saying, "Hey," and he pointed. Whenever time you point at your head, the number one thing is, "Oh, we're going to hit you." But he said that's not what he was doing. So Eddie's always been good as far as I've had him or talked to him and all that. So who knows what he was saying? But that's the way he said it. Is he was saying be smart. So interesting though.
We're going to take a quick break for the TV crowd. Top 5. We'll get your reply to this in a sec. All right.
To kind of piggyback that, the one I think about is Pedro Martinez and Don Zimmer. and Posadas, you better be smart. They were pointing to their head. I think you got to be careful about how you go about things. Eddie Perez, great guy, understand him. I think with the theatrics in the hand, believable. I don't know exactly what was said, but you know what happens after that. They'll go back and look at film and they say, "Hey, show me what happened." And then they get different views. "Oh, yeah, he was giving signs." So the only way to really go about this is keep your mouth shut and then basically throwing under somebody's chin. They have a camera everywhere, Lance. So if you see all of a sudden somebody's chirping at each other, it's going to get back to the league, and then the next guy that throws, if you hit somebody, he gone. So, just unfortunate. You don't like to see that. Two good guys, and hopefully they just move on from here.
No, I agree. I hope they move on, but it was definitely interesting.
Mm-hmm. And two teams that don't face each other often,
interesting.
so you don't have the division.
Very interesting,
right?
People don't forget though.
They do not forget. All right, let's swing to our BetMGM locks. We got one more to go. Pap time.
My people of FT, what's up? It's Parlay Pap coming to you on this Monday. Listen, I know two things today. The Padres are going to score first against the Marlins, so we're going to bet that. And secondly, the Reds in the first 5 innings are going to score 4 runs because they hot. We got to bet them. Get your money in. Let's get that cheese today on this Monday.
There you go. Have you ever seen one of those, Lance, or was that your first Parlay Pap experience?
That is my first Parlay Pap, and it is on brand, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm. And that was probably like a 4 performance, maybe even like a 2 or 3 energy-wise compared to some Pap that we get for those clips. So,
and maybe he wasn't all in on that one.
No, you're right. I mean, that was a little fancier than it usually goes, right? It was a little more intricate. Anyway, BetMGM's giving you the chance to win a prize every day during baseball season. It's the BetMGM Swing for the Fences free-to-play game. Give it a shot. And if you're not successful today, you can try again tomorrow. Score bonuses and boost tokens. Gambling problem or concern, there's help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll be back for Slap Hands. right, let's slap. We'll do the extra few minutes for the online crowd coming up in a moment too. But with 60 seconds to go, Lance, this goes pretty quick, doesn't it?
It does. I enjoy it, man. Whenever you get to talk shop, everybody knows that's the best part. But when you're done playing, man, you don't get to have the back and forth, and you don't get to talk to the guys. So I definitely enjoyed that today.
Yeah, and as
Me
you can
too.
tell from Gavin Sheets and Tyler Glasnow, they have a good time with it. The guys like it. It's just like an easy 15 minutes. For some of the guys, it almost is like a little therapy session. You get to talk to a former teammate. It's a good catch-up.
Gets the endorphins going, gets the excitement, gets the juices. Yeah, no, it's fun times. Lance, you did awesome. I had a blast. Natural, just felt really natural.
Easy cheese, easy. All right, we got a few minutes left. 32. All right, I'm going to speed through a few other things because I got a lot on the checklist, and we've got 3 minutes to do it. First off, one thing on the trade front we didn't get to that I just want to throw out there. Craig Mish over the weekend, who's really locked in on the Marlins for years, says they're not shopping Kyle Stowers.
Okay.
Good. The season he's having and the weekend that he just had and the years of control that you have, that's a guy you want to build around.
Without a doubt. He's a beast.
Good.
Stud.
When we first heard a month ago that his name might be thrown around in some trades, I'm like, you just got him. At some point, you got to keep someone. And he's a great kid, great ambassador.
Yes,
just was an all-star. He's crushing it for them. So I was glad to see that. And then Lance, you'll like this. So we got a couple long timers. One with a comeback again, and one saying goodbye. I think for good. We can go Daniel Bard here. Announcing his retirement over the weekend. There it is on his Instagram. He's retiring from baseball. Did you come across him, Lance? Did you play with him or just against him?
I played with him for Team USA in the WBC, and then also came across him when he was doing his comeback when he was a Cardinal minor leaguer, man. And his journey, man, to get back and to be an elite closer again was awesome. That's a heck of a story.
Yeah, and then we just got news that Rich Hill, who signed maybe a month ago, is actually coming back to the bigs. He's going to start on Tuesday for the Royals against the Cubs at Wrigley Field, former team of his.
Get it loose, Lance.
45 years old.
Who I had Rich in AAA in 2009. So as a grizzled old vet, then I feel like he was. Oh man, that's crazy. Was he 45?
45.
I got 6 years, man. I can still do it.
Yeah, so just in case, all right? And you can tell the girls, hey, everyone behave or I'm going to do a Rich Hill.
Yeah. Once you get everybody in school back, hey, I got nothing to do. Let's get back going.
Exactly. I'm with it.
The Rich Hill plan. All right, so rest of the docket today, we've got Dodgers Territory coming up in about a minute, and that'll be live on their channel, and then we'll do Hot Sheet. I've got a question I'm going to ask the Baseball America experts. Which draft pick has the best chance of coming up to the bigs this year, 2025 pick? I got that question over the weekend. I'll relay it over to them. Can we finish with the Phanatic doing their thing? This is one of the most viral moments I've ever seen. Our CEO buddy
I saw it online too.
at the Coldplay concert, and then Philly Phanatic was also having a good time with his HR rep, and everyone saw it.
They were doing it at the minor league park 10 minutes down the road.
Oh,
here.
Jersey Shore here.
But the thing is, they made it like a scene now. All right, sixth thing, everybody get ready for your Coldplay. And everybody did it, but everybody didn't. They're like, and everybody hid. Oh man, that's tough.
Yep. The Bananas were doing it all weekend in St. Louis too, man. It's everywhere.
It'll never get old.
No.
Sorry. I feel bad for that family. I'm sorry.
Galactic viral moment. It's not just that, it's everything around it. The reaction was just one of those moments that spans all fans everywhere on social media. Incredible. But anyway, Lance, you crushed it, man. Awesome hangs.
I appreciate it, guys. Anytime.
Yeah, you were great. FT fam, we'll see you tomorrow. Lots of trade talk over the next 10 days.